Good evening. Thank you for attending tonight's school board forum. This forum is hosted by Newcastle Education Association and Delta Kappa Gamma, a women's teaching society. I'm Jennifer Stevenson, and I am the current president of Delta Kappa Gamma. This is Kylie Shoemaker, and she is the president for Newcastle Education Association, NEA. Both of these organizations' missions include involvement in current political and educational issues. We worked really hard to make this meaningful and an informative forum for you tonight. We want to thank the candidates for attending tonight. Before we start, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Will you please stand and remove cover? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Robert Munger, an NEA member and a middle school civics teacher, will serve as our moderator tonight. Robert, will you please come forward?
Thank you. If I could please get everyone to silence their cell phones so as to prevent any distractions for our candidates up here. Forum procedures. Candidates will respect and act cordially towards each other and the forum volunteers. This is a question and answer forum, not a debate. Therefore, the candidates will use their time to answer the questions. Each candidate will have a 1-minute introduction. Then I, the moderator, will read each question, and the answering order will be randomized. They'll be selected randomly, and that will change with each round. Candidates may ask me to reread the question. When there's 10 seconds remaining for you candidates, a timer in the front row will hold up a yellow card, letting you know you have 10 seconds left. When the 10 seconds is up, they will hold up a red card, and I will announce time. And we will move on to the next candidate. Partway through this forum, there's going to be a yes and no questions that were not provided ahead of time. The candidates will indicate yes or no by using paddles. The green side being yes, the red side being no. And there will be no additional explanation time. You want me to put that back up for you? Okay. The questions asked tonight were thoughtfully narrowed down by a committee from a list of over 50 questions submitted by the Weston County School District No. 1 staff. With the large candidate pool we have and a 2-hour time limit, we plan to get through 7 questions as well as the round of yes-no questions. Candidates were provided the 7 main questions ahead of time so they could prepare their 1-minute answer. They will hear the yes-no questions for the first time tonight. Candidates, are we ready? Question number 1.
Oh, let me do the introduction.
What's that? Oh, introductions. You were correct. My apologies. And that's random also. And our first candidate is Joe Prout.
You want me to say it, dude?
That's up to you.
My name is Joe Perel. I'm a 2001 graduate of Newcastle High School. My wife's name is Trustee, and our son Weston is in the 5th grade. After high school, I committed to 5 years in the United States Navy as an aviation electrician. I learned to work with different cultures, took on many leadership roles, and was taught successes in the details. In 2020, I was asked to help start the Newcastle Youth Basketball Association. The opportunity to positively impact the youth through basketball and some of the roadblocks that our board had faced was part of what made me want to run for school board. I'm not running on any major agenda. However, I do feel as a community member and parent of a student that I can offer professional, tactful, and thorough decision making that would benefit not only the students but also the staff. As I agree with many stakeholders like you, our kids' education, health, and well-being is my #1 priority. I would like to work towards improving communication between school and parents, work on improvement and understanding of test scores and school pride. I know I'll do my best to address any issues that would arise while on the school board.
All right, our next candidate is Paul Bow.
Good evening. My name is Paul Bell. Obviously, I'm running for school board. I've only got a minute, so I'm going to try to be quick. What you see, it's what you get. I don't have any agenda other than to do what's right for this district. I try to be fair, honest, and transparent in everything I do, and I ask others to do the same. We have a lot of really talented people here in Newcastle, and we have a lot of issues that we have to be grown up about and work our way through. There's no simple solutions, but I do have some simple questions for you. Are you willing to be happy with the status quo, or are you ready for a change? It really is that simple. 11 candidates, 4 spots. Everybody talks about change. Are you ready for that change to happen? Are you ready to apply what we have to actually fix things? I'd appreciate your support.
David Gordon.
Okay. My name is Dana Gordon. I am married and have 3 adult children, and we've all attended Newcastle schools. I currently serve on the school board and enjoy it very much. I have no agenda and would like to give back to my community. I feel anyone who cares about education and children is qualified to serve on the school board. Thanks.
Tyler Mills.
Hello, my name is Tyler Mills. I'm a Newcastle alum of 05. My family's been associated with the school since 1950. My grandparents both graduated in 58, my father in 77, and my mother in 85. My grandfather and dad have both drove buses for the school district, and my grandfather has done the activities, scorekeeping and that with the district. He is also a current member on the school board. I have learned from them. I was in the Navy and I learned the values of honor, courage, and commitment. And I am a proud parent of 4 stepchildren and 1 child in the grade school. And I feel that everything has come to a halt as far as our education is concerned, and we need to make the change to get everything back on track and go back to the basics, because technology has not been very kind to our learning curve. Thank you.
Jill Sears.
I'd like to thank Delta Kappa Gamma and the Newcastle Education Association for organizing this forum and for my invitation to attend. My name is Jillian Sears, and my motivation for seeking a position on the school board is straightforward and comes from personal life experience. Statistically, 2/3 of every graduating class can't do 12th grade math or English without further instruction. I was educated in Scotland and left school at 16, which is legal but not ideal, and immediately entered the workforce. I've lived in Germany, England, Ireland, and of course the United States, where I had a successful career in banking prior to moving to Weston County. In the 18 years I've lived and worked on the ranch, at the coal mines, driven railroad crews, and spent 2 years at the hospital as executive assistant to 4 CEOs. At no time has the fact I left school at 16 hindered my ability to obtain employment due to the foundation I was given in reading, comprehension, and arithmetic. I feel every child should possess those basic skills, and it's the main reason I'm running.
Time. Stan Jasinski.
I'd like to also thank Jennifer Stevenson, Kylie Shoemaker, and Delta Kappa Gamma, and the Newcastle Education Association for the invitation to be here tonight. Good evening, my name is Stanley Jasinski. In July 2016, I moved here from Massachusetts. In October, I purchased my home here in Weston County and have been very involved in our community since. The achievements I'm most proud of are my service to our country and my community. 4 years in the Air Force as a security police specialist, served in the Air Force Reserve as a firefighter. My career as a firefighter, now retired, and president of the Northampton Firefighters Union Local 108. In these jobs positions, I have been a leader, teacher, mentor, and an advocate for those under my leadership. I learned how to serve, put the mission above others, myself, prioritize what is most important, negotiate contracts, mediate grievance, and to fight for what I believe in. And tonight, that is the best education for our students and parental rights. If elected, I'll use these skills, life principles, and leadership qualities as guides to help me be a effective member of the school board. Thank you.
Jason Jenkins.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Jason Jenkins, born and raised in Newcastle, graduated in '92. After high school, I wrestled for Coach Ziegler in Powell. Spent 8 years in the Army. After the Army, moved to Oklahoma, where I started a family. Worked in manufacturing. Company moved over to China. I spent a year in China, came back, moved back to Newcastle, where I worked at the prison, currently work at the Sheriff's Department, actively been with the Fire Department for 16 years now. And that's it. Thank you.
Sean Crabtree.
All right.
She's got you.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Sean Crabtree. I went K through 3 in Newcastle. I went 4th through 8th in Osage. Was born in Newcastle. Went to Upton High. Graduated in 1991. Don't hold that against me. Programs I've been involved in is what's called a Big Brother program that we had in '92 in Upton. We took mentally challenged kids out and got them jobs. I even let them drive my car. I've been assistant wrestling coach in Upton in '92 and '93 for the high school. I have 5 children, and they're all graduated. 3 of them graduated from Newcastle. 2 still go to school here. I'm just here to fight for the kids and fight for the staff. That's all the purpose I'm here. So.
Marcia Lambert.
Hi, my name is Marcia Lambert. I am a lifelong resident of Weston County. I graduated from Newcastle High School and attended Casper College. I have been married to Bill Lambert for 43 years. We have 2 children, Will and Cole. Will and Carrie are on the ranch and have 2 children, Case and Kaylee. They both attended Newcastle Elementary School. Cole and Shannon live in Pine Bluffs with 3 children, Paisley, Quigley, and Rasley. I'm running for school board because I am passionate for kids and concerned about our district. I offer stability, level thinking, consistency, and have no agenda. I'm a good listener. I have served on the school board for 8 years. I've attended all board governance trainings, the WSDA roundup meetings, the state conventions, and the yearly dinner with local legislators. Also, all of the teacher appreciation days. I've been a very dedicated member, and I've only missed 3 meetings, and I would like to serve another 4 years.
Thank you. And Stephen Gale.
Hello, I'm Stephen Gale. I was born and raised in Wyoming. I'm running for the school board because I have 2 young children that are in Newcastle, in Weston County School District. I believe it's every parent's duty to be involved with their children's education, whether that's at home and also doing this. So, I mean, I have no issues with current school board members, and I have no agenda. I just, believe it's our duty to serve. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates, for your introductions. Question number 1. What is your vision for education in this community, and what is one change that you believe is needed? Paul Bow.
It's kind of hard to narrow it down to one thing. I have 3 areas I would like to concentrate on: leadership, accountability, and transparency. Leadership is pretty well self-explanatory. I would like to see transparency because that's how we confirm everything that we're talking about is actually happening. And when we talk about accountability, I mean accountability for everyone. That means students, parents, teachers, staff, administrators, and school board members. I'm not going to say that if we focus on these 3 things, it's going to fix all of our problems, but it would definitely be a step in the right direction.
Thank you. Jill Sears.
My vision for our school district would correct some of the discrepancies in the cost of education versus the current results. For example, my main concern is proficiency rates in reading comprehension and basic math. Our students are entering 3rd grade with roughly 45% of the children at basic or below basic in reading and comprehension. In 4th grade, that number rises to over 50%. The change I feel we need is to go back to a more traditional education model. Every child in Weston County should be able to read, comprehend, and do basic math before they graduate. The sad truth is the majority of Wyoming high school graduates who have gone to college have to take remedial English and math classes, meaning our children are not prepared for the higher skill, higher wage jobs Wyoming is trying to create.
Tyler Mills.
I would like to see education be at its best form. Get the best out of our teachers, because I know most of our teachers are doing their best, but some of them could do better. It is to ensure that the best possible outcome for all of our students, whether they be a senior in high school all the way down to our kindergarten class. We also need to work on better communication between our staff and our parents. There's been a lot of issues in this area, and I would like to see that resolved.
Marcia Lambert.
My vision would be to give every child the foundation blocks so they can do what they want in life. Whether it's a doctor or a plumber, college-bound or job-bound, and to change less focus on mandatory standards, creating more time for creative thinking in the classroom. Sometimes I think there could be a current event that may be more important than the standard of the day.
Stephen Gale.
My vision is to see our kids being able to graduate with the ability to know how to think for themselves, not, having been taught what to think and what to believe as they grow, but, how to discover who they are. One of the main things I think we need to work on, especially for, like Newcastle and small rural areas like this, is good teacher retention. We need to retain teachers that do good work. There's a lot of teachers that are very dedicated, and we need to reward that. And I do believe that is one of the main things that we should do. Thank you.
Dana Gordon.
Well, my vision for education in our community is I would like every student to have the opportunities that my children and I have had in Newcastle schools. I'd like to be sure each student has the education and tools they need to succeed at whatever they pursue after graduation. As far as change, That's a tough one. What comes to mind for me right now is our shortage in our math department. I would like to see those fulfilled, but there's not many math teachers in the state of Wyoming. So that's just going to take some work.
Stan Jasinski.
I believe our schools should be places of neutrality where our students are removed from the trappings and pressures of life. The primary purpose of the administrators and teachers should be to provide the best education possible in order to enrich our students with the knowledge needed to prosper in life. The best way to accomplish this is to focus on skills which matter: reading, writing, arithmetic, science, and biology. These core fundamentals should be augmented with history, which teaches the Christian Judeo principles our country was founded on, our Constitution, Bill of Rights, and protect the rights bestowed upon us by our Creator. American exceptionalism and an ingenuity which built this great nation, and the blood and sacrifice our sons and daughters have shed so we all might be free here. I would change all curriculums which deal with critical race theory and gender ideologies like social emotional learning, social and mental health, for starters.
Sean Crabtree.
My vision is what's best for the kids. Give them the best opportunity for college, give them the best opportunity for the workforce, get them ready for the workforce, and I would like to see better communication between parents, staff, and school board.
Jason Jenkins.
You know, I'd love to sit here and give you the cookie cutter version, you know, with all the big words. Inspiring a lifelong love of learning by creating lessons that are exciting, authentic, engaging. But to me, it's really simple. We need to be inspiring minds, not just filling their heads with stuff. A few things I would change is getting government out of education, giving more local control to the district, better communication, and better accountability amongst the board. Thank you.
Joe Brown.
Now that I get time to slow down and not sound like a robot, my vision for education in Newcastle is a positive learning environment for students to prepare for the next level of their lives. I think the school district needs enhanced communication, and stakeholders need to understand what is going on.
All right, question 2. An individual school board member has no authority. Only the board as a whole can make decisions for our district. How will you work with the other 8 members to focus on student achievement and staff recruitment/retention? Paul Bow.
The only way that we can have our students achieve is to have outstanding teachers. And the only way we have outstanding teachers is if we have a school board that is willing to back them, support them, and give them the tools they need to be successful. We have been hemorrhaging employees the last 5 or 6 years, and I haven't seen anyone do anything about it. If you want to keep quality people, you better get serious about having a stable school board and a stable school system. Until we do that, our kids are at risk, and I can guarantee you teachers talk. There's not going to be any way we're going to attract the kind of teachers we need when we don't have a stable system for them to come into.
Sean Crabtree.
I'm very open-minded. I'm a problem solver. I deal with problems every day. I have employees. I have 5 different businesses. So I'm a problem solver every day. So I'm kind of excited to see what problems and issues we have to solve them. It goes right back to number one thing, and that's what I'm running for, it's our kids. That's one of the main reasons I'm running. So that's all I got.
Marcia Lambert.
As a board member, I would keep the board focused on the board governance goals that said Weston County School District number 1 will have 85 to 100% students at each grade level content area proficient or higher on the state proficiency exam and local common assessment. You have to have quality staff for students to have a chance. In order to facilitate this goal, the board has to focus on staff recruitment and retention, which could include competitive salaries, working environment, and the tools to help the staff member reach their highest potential. For retaining new staff, I would encourage my fellow board members to participate in new teacher events to show them we appreciate that they chose our district. I would also encourage administration and other board members to evaluate the pay scale to make sure we are doing all that we can do for new and veteran staff.
Jill Sears.
As a member of a 9-person board, I would expect and participate in respectful debate on any issue brought forward. With respect being a foundation, I believe difficult conversations can be had, even with disagreement, in a civil and productive way. On staff recruitment, I'm interested in a mentoring program. For example, we have teachers with 20+ years of experience who may be a couple of years away from retirement. We should utilize that experience by having them mentor their future replacements. Student teachers who not only understand the curriculum, but the teaching style of their mentor would create seamless transitions in our classroom. There's a serious teacher shortage nationwide, so we should look for candidates locally, then regionally. And money for certified tutors is also included in school budgets. We should be utilizing that resource on core subjects also.
Joe Brown.
Board members, through some sort of compromise, ethics, and following state law, should be able to make decisions. I don't think anyone is going to totally agree on everything, and I think everyone needs to be realistic about that. I also think the board needs to have an open line of communication with the stakeholders. The staff are the professionals when it comes to education, but the parents and the students know what their needs are, but may feel apprehensive to come forward. As for staff recruitment and retention, I believe we can make sure current staff needs are met. However, we still have budgets to maintain, guidelines to follow, and stakeholders' concerns to be addressed. If staff chooses to leave, we need to ensure that, and I didn't know this, but exit interviews concerns are addressed to consider why staff is leaving. When hiring new staff, we need to make sure it's understood we live in rural Wyoming, and Newcastle's culture may be different than other communities. I am curious, however, on the maintenance department and why we have a high turnover rate there.
Tyler Mills.
Well, and like it's a group effort. You have to get input from the other board members and along with your constituents, the parents, the students, and the other staff members on how best to get anything accomplished. On student achievement, it comes down to the focus on the teachers, how they teach, how they are teaching, and what the students are retaining, because there are some students that learn by hands-on more so than by watching a whiteboard or a computer. As far as the recruitment and retention, we have one of the best districts in the state of Wyoming, and I want to keep it that way. However, with the teacher shortages, we need to learn and give the best to our staff to keep them here. We want to make sure and retain all of that. Thank you.
Stan Jasinski.
I would work with other school board members on a lot of things, but one of them would be to implement curriculums which would best serve our students and teach them the fundamental skills needed to prepare them for life and prosper once they leave school. I believe most teachers want to teach curriculums free of social justice ideologies. but feel suppressed and restrained by these curriculums. It is my belief that we provide teachers and students curriculums which actually teach reading, writing, arithmetic, science, and biology, and then judge their achievements by the report cards and not data quotas. Not only would our students prosper, but our teachers would as well. This would lead to greater retention of teachers and therefore cut down the need for recruitment and also bring more teachers back into the field of education. More money is not the answer, better education is.
Jason Jenkins.
As a board, it's working together in a shared vision and a common goal of what's best for our kids, our teachers, and our staff. As a 9-member team, we have to be united. We have to have a shared vision and goal and keep our district moving in that direction. I know retention, we got to have that open communication with our staff, find out what we need to do to resolve those issues. I know Wyoming has started implementing an internship. I would like to see our district start that and work on that internship to mentor those upcoming students in college and make our area a place they want to be. Thank you.
Stephen Gale.
I see most of this coming down to communication. I'm working with the other board members, we meet twice a month. You're supposed to meet twice a month. That doesn't mean you don't have a phone. I mean, I would be on the phone with, other board members probably almost constantly. They'd be very sick of me, I'm sure. As for teacher retention, again, it's communication. I would say if we hear that there is a teacher that wants to leave or is going to leave, that we communicate with that teacher, especially if it's a good teacher and we really don't want them to leave, like a math teacher or something like that, then, that is doing the job, then find out why, what's going on, is there anything that we can do? Is there something that we need to do or something way we can help? Again, we got to make this an attractive town for people to come to, and it also means we got to do our job to help, the kids.
Okay. Dana Gordon.
It's important to keep an open mind and be able to compromise, be receptive to each other's opinions, and communicate. Board training and board governance is a really big help. That is something that we typically encourage our board members to attend. It helps understand how things work as a board. It's important to be calm and focused on the issues. Student achievement and staff retention are directly related. Keeping our experienced and dedicated teachers should be our focus, and along that line, it goes to help with our student achievement.
All right, question 3. With 1 or 2 meetings a month, all school boards are limited in what they can do. What are the top 2 priorities you believe the board should focus on? Marcia Lambert.
An effective board is probably going to have to focus on more than just 2 areas. All areas are important and different things come up at different times of the year. The budget, curriculum, student achievement, and staff recruitment and retention are on the top of the list. But everything from maintenance to school safety to the lunch program to busing are all important and have to be focused on to keep the school running. Parents and guardians are also important. We are taking care of their child. They deserve to be in the picture too. School systems function like a well-oiled machine, and all areas need to work together. In the end, our goal should be a well-rounded, productive child with a purpose in life.
Thank you. Paul Bow. Sorry.
You can't build a house without a strong foundation, and it might sound like I'm repeating myself, but we can't have a foundation without our teachers. They are the foundation that our education system is built upon. And that's not just me trying to talk to the crowd. I know there's a lot of teachers here, and the only thing that upsets me more than somebody being disingenuous is when we all know what the problems are and no one has the courage to step up and do the right thing. As I look around this room, I see a lot of friends and I see a lot of teachers, and the fact that nobody is taking their concerns seriously right now aggravates me to no end. How are we supposed to have effective, productive education when our teachers don't get the support and the tools they need to ensure that it happens?
Dana Gordon.
Well, there's definitely more than 1 to 2 meetings a month. There's board governance, there's board trainings, there's conferences, there's Zoom meetings. That's just a ploy to get you to run. But question number 2 kind of sums it up for me. The 2 priorities for me: educating students and retaining teachers who are good at their job. We do need to educate the whole child. I think sometimes outside of the school they lose sight of how much teachers do take care of the kids. Teachers take on more and more of a child's development than ever before. It's no longer just reading, writing, math, and science. There's a lot more that our teachers take care of.
Stan Jasinski.
I try not to put limitations on goal. I am skilled in prioritizing what is most important and working for these outcomes, but can still work to achieve lesser goals at the same time. I found by obtaining these lesser goals, we can sometimes lay the groundwork to achieve the greater goals we seek. The 2 most important priorities which should be focused on are making sure most of our taxpayer dollars are spent to provide teachers with their best tools, books, and equipment needed to educate our students, and their education can be achieved by providing them with curriculums which actually teach students to learn the skills needed in life, not to perform our high data scores which offer them nothing but stress and anxiety. I know you've heard me speak a lot about the need to get rid of these curriculums in our schools, but it is these ideology-driven curriculums where are systematic in our public schools and at the very core of why our students are not graduating with such low life skills.
Time. Jill Sears.
My top 2 priorities will be to improve our reading comprehension and math skills achieved in elementary school, and to improve the communication issues between the parents, board, and educators. Moving a child who can't read to the next grade before reaching that grade proficiency is a disservice to the children who will live with the limitations poor reading and writing abilities place on them, especially the female students who typically don't go into coal, oil, gas, etc. My second priority would be to improve the communication between the faculty, board, and parents. Open debate on issues would help, and reaching out to parents and teachers personally to ask for their opinions on important decisions would allow for more community input. I feel the role of a school board member should be proactive in communication, not reactive.
Stephen Gale.
It's pretty simple. 2 priorities are students. They should be our number 1 priority in all things. And 2 is teachers. I was an educator. I went to school to be an educator. I was lured away by the oil field for 20 years. But I have a lot of friends that are teachers, and it is a very important job. Also, forgive me a little bit, I had to get a piece of candy because I just quit smoking after 36 years, and you don't want it. All right, thank you.
Sean Crabtree.
In the meetings, First, you have to take care of the issues that are presented at you at the time. Deal with the issues the best you can because we have such short time. Two things I like to see is definitely keep our staff safe and our children safe in our schools. One thing is by keeping the drugs out of our schools and our community. Also, too, I'd like to see law enforcement be more involved with our schools.
Joe Bro.
One priority I think the board should be working on with administration is improving communication with the stakeholders and how to make information more accessible to them. The second priority I think the board needs to focus on would be test scores and the stakeholders' understanding of the test scores, what the school is doing to improve the scores, or their thoughts on what the scores mean for our students.
Jason Jenkins.
Of course, test scores, more specifically in math and English, the number one. Trusted communication among our staff, administration, and our board, along with our stakeholders. And again, I think most every board member has talked about it, staff retention, trying to keep staff in here. Thank you.
Tyler Mills.
Number one priority, academic success. Most of our statewide scores, even throughout the nation scores, we're sitting at 35%, and that is way too low. We need to go back to the basics, teach our kids how to read, write, math, and in their local sciences. The second thing is transparency between between all parties involved, our students, our staff, and our parents. This is a group effort to educate our children to be the best that they can be. We've always been told from the time we were little that we need to be better than, or our parents always want us to do better than what they were. And I believe as a group effort between our staff, students, and parents that we should be able to accomplish that.
All right, at this time, we're going to transition to some yes/no questions. When I finish reading the question, candidates will raise a paddle with the green side facing the audience for yes, and the red side facing the audience for no. The candidates all have their paddles. That'll be a yes. That's your two guesses. Okay. Thank you so much. All right. Question number one. Are you able to dedicate the time required to review all relevant materials before meetings, to study board policy, education rules and regulations, and the state education statutes? Question two. If elected, you will have to swear an oath to uphold both the Wyoming and the United States Constitutions. Are you able to affirm to the voters that you will stand by this oath if elected? Next question. Do you believe that board members should model the expectations that they have of the staff? Do you believe the board members should model the expectations that they have of the staff? Next question. We have students and families from diverse backgrounds, such as English as a second language, LGBTQ+, socioeconomic levels, and different religious beliefs within our district. Our district motto is, children are our business. Do you feel that every student has the right to feel safe and supported within the walls of our schools, regardless of your personal beliefs. And the last one. Do you believe it is appropriate for school board members to comment or voice their personal opinion on school matters on social media sites? Thank you guys very much. We'll now resume the regular questions with the 1-minute responses. Next question. The school board needs to understand the climate and the culture in the district. How would you go about finding out what all the stakeholders, parents, staff, students, and community members think? Stan Jasinski.
The best way to understand any topic is to talk with, and most importantly, listen to those who are affected by it. I would do this by attending parent-teacher conferences and listening to what they have to say, attend student-driven activities, and listen to what is most important to them. I would do the same with teachers. I will go into our schools and see their daily workings and meet with our administrators and listen carefully to the reports they give at board meetings. I would hold town hall style events for parents, taxpayers, and members of our community where they can voice their concerns and ideas unfettered from the constraints found at a school board meeting. And all that I find or hear, I would bring back to our school board meetings for the members to consider or take action. I believe it's most important to get our parents and our teachers involved. They're the two, besides the students, they're the two most key qualities and needed resources for a better education.
Time. Dana Gordon.
Being available and approachable as a school board member is important. I do feel that attending the parent-teacher conferences is a good idea for board members. It's a less structured time for people to visit with you and address whatever they can. It's important to listen and to relay to the rest of the board information we hear. But also, it's important to follow the chain of command in our schools. Sometimes just by talking to your teacher, or if that doesn't work, talking to the principal and on up the line. Sometimes that can solve a lot of problems without it becoming a big problem.
Stephen Gale.
Again, I would say communicate. One of the worst things, my wife would tell you that I'm one of the worst, I'm at that, but communication is the key to a lot of this. I would say one of my goals would be I would want to learn the names of every teacher in all of our schools. That, would be a challenge for me, and I would definitely want to do that, and it'd be one way I know I would be getting involved, talking with you, talking with other stakeholders out there, again, attending everything I can go to, being very active, very, very involved in the community.
Jill Sears.
Western County is a traditional conservative community, and I would say that parents are looking for a safe environment for their children to learn and develop skills to set them up for a successful future. Not all of our children will be doctors and lawyers, but all of them should be able to read and do basic math. Teachers need tools to maintain a respectful and willing learning environment, and I would ask for their critical input on what steps we could take to better achieve that. The climate and culture of our school district can only be successful with input from all, students included, but it should be directed by the 9-person board who, after all, are elected to represent our community, their cultures and traditions.
Jason Jenkins.
By being available to the teachers, parents, being interactive with our students, getting involved with school activities, our stakeholders being more active with the board being more active with the school. As a current board member, I do roam the halls, I do participate in student activities. I like to think I'm approachable. I've had people call me all hours of the day and night. And for future board members, if you truly want to know the climate, go to a basketball, football, or volleyball game. They'll let you know.
Tyler Mills.
Well, it all boils down to an open line of thought. My phone is always on and available. I'm very easy to talk to. I do listen. I'm willing to do the research that anybody has concerns with, whether they be parents, staff, students, even community members. I might not have the answer for you right then, but I do work with due diligence to find the right answer. And if I don't know the answer, I'm not going to push you off to another person, outlet. I will find you the right answer one way or another.
Marcia Lambert.
This is a challenge since my grandchildren are just in grade school and I don't hear a lot of the rhetoric, and they think the sun rises and sets with everything about grade school. I found this difficult in the past. I would try to make a concentrated effort to get into the schools during school hours. I've always felt it would be fairly distracting to teachers and students, but I've been reassured that they welcome it. As a current board member, we've been attending parent-teacher conferences. We take coffee cards to teachers on Appreciation Day. And my family and I have been going to some home games, all the Christmas and spring concerts. And I may not have mentioned, but I'm a nervous wreck as a public speaker, but in smaller settings I love to visit. I'm at the grocery store, the car dealership, feed stores, restaurants, and something that may be a little foreign to some is I do have the ability to listen.
Is this better, Paul? Paul Bow.
Would you repeat the question, please?
The school board needs to understand the climate and culture in the district. How would you go about finding out what all stakeholders, the parents, staff, students, and community members think?
So in our room and a world full of difficult questions, this one's really simple. Ask questions and then listen. And I'm not talking about like when you call certain people and they always say, I think it's in a playbook somewhere, I hear you. Sure, you hear me. Are you listening? That's the biggest problem we have. Take in the information, listen, and then ask more questions so that you truly understand what the issue is, and then move forward and take action to help resolve it. That's a big part of listening. Actions speak louder than words. The other way you can have your pulse on what's going on in our community is to do what I did and have your 16-year-old daughter tell you all about her day for an hour and a half when she gets home. She does not draw a breath.
Joe Prell.
Communication, being someone that will listen. Being from Newcastle, I hope I understand some of the difficulties these kids face daily. I feel being raised here to now living and working in our community has helped me understand the climate and culture of this district. I feel I'm an approachable individual, so if stakeholders might want to have a conversation with me about their concerns, they may do so. I hope I can be that voice for stakeholders that might feel hesitant to bring issues forward.
And Sean Crabtree.
Yes, we need to have full communication with all the above. And another thing too, talking with your kids at night. Trust me, you learn a lot from them. I've learned more than I need to learn sometimes. So, also too, being a very good listener with kids, staff. Another thing too, I really do believe in is the chain of command. Even workforce, there's people you got to go to visit with and get your problems resolved. Don't jump over that person to go to another person. Teachers and principals need to work together before you go to the school board. So that's all I have to say.
Next question. What is your understanding of state standards and how they are created and implemented by our classroom experts, the teachers? Dana Gordon.
State standards are a set of expectations or skills that a student should be able to complete at a certain grade level. We are allowed some freedom with how we accomplish these. State standards allow us to decide what materials and methods that our teachers will use in the classroom to achieve those expectations. At that point, our expert teams get together and work out what will work best for each content area.
Paul Dow.
So I was an ag teacher and FFA advisor for 2 years, and state standards were an issue then, and I figured when I saw this question I'd better get up to speed, and then it dawned on me, I just said I was an ag teacher 20 years ago. Wow, it didn't seem that long ago. That happened quick. So I called Sonia Tisdale because I figured she would be the person to get me up to speed, and she was very patient, and she explained things to where even I could understand them. And there's some really good things where we can all have input on the standards, and there's some good things that we have some local control over the standards. Once again, my only concern is the same one that I had 20 years ago, is that I don't want teachers to have to lose sight of educating in order to do the paperwork to be compliant with the state standards.
Stan Jasinski.
State standards come from national standards. Both are dictated by curriculums which are forced into our public school standards. These standards are not meant to promote individual student achievement, but are based on things like equity and growth scores, which dictate no one moves forward unless we all move forward. That's equity. When our administrators presented our school data scores last week, they spoke of our buildings received the following data scores, as opposed to our administrators, teachers, or students. This is meant to dehumanize our school environment. I have also heard terms used like, it takes a village to raise a child, when in actuality, it takes parents to raise their child. Thank you.
Sean Crabtree.
My understanding is it's created at a higher level. My understanding is that the state implements the standards, to which we have teachers here that make our curriculum for the school year. I'm not a teacher, and so I could be wrong on this, but I'd love to learn more about it.
Jason Jenkins.
Okay, I'm not going to bore you with State Statute 219101, but the quick down version is you have your content standard is what the students expect to know and do. The performance level descriptors, which are the students' advanced, proficient, basic, or below basic. And your performance standard, which identifies the subject all students are expected to learn. be assessed through the district assessment system. I'll go a little further. Student common knowledge is your social studies, math, English, reading. Your common skills are problem solving, interpersonal communication, and critical thinking. This is what the government tells us our standard is. Then there's a review board that is reviewed every 9 years. And then from there, it takes about 9 to 18 months to complete and adapt.
Time. Tyler Mills.
Well, my understanding is that the standards get rewritten about every 8 to 9 years. They go through a whole bunch of policy with input from community members, parents, staff, and teachers alike. They go through, review it, pass the curriculum on down to our district and our experts in the areas of that, go through and devise a way to best teach our children. I do believe that we as community members and fellow parents need to be part of that process so we actually understand what our children are being taught.
Jill Sears.
From conversations I've had with educators and my own research, I see state Common Core standardized testing as one of the biggest issues we currently face. Our children do not learn at the same way, they don't progress at the same pace, and these mandatory tests might understandably have a teacher teach the test and not the full curriculum. In this circumstance, the teachers are key in bringing the concerns to the board on what is working and what isn't with the curriculum and preparation for these standardized tests. Since the Department of Education's inception, the United States has fallen from first in the world to 24th. It's past time for change, and we need buy-in from the educators and the parents to make that change.
Joe Brell.
I'll be honest, myself, like maybe a lot of community members, do not have a lot of understanding of the state standards or how they are created or implemented. However, this is one of many things that I will work hard at growing my knowledge on and will rely on teachers and administrators since they're the professionals. I would encourage stakeholders to grow their own personal knowledge on the standards if they want. I believe a lot of people rely on and trust our school staff to make the appropriate decisions. I have learned so much by attending school board meetings, like voting on curriculum. Most community members probably didn't know they can vote on that at a state level. I do believe we can improve on making that information more accessible, which a lot of things goes back to open communication.
Marcia Lambert.
I understand the very basics of state standards, and I'm very happy that we have experts that refresh us. The standards are a complicated web. I went to the WEE website and found their complicated web of expectations that all students should know and be able to do, ensuring that they are prepared for college or career. These expectations are shared with students, parents, educators, and stakeholders and provide common understanding with educators as to what students should learn at particular grade bands. I know they are reevaluated at a staggered 9-year intervals by a group of teachers, curriculum experts, and other interested people. The state board promulgates standards through rules and regulations process. They are implemented in different ways in different schools. With all the standards in place, I wonder if teachers are able to supplement the curriculum with some of their own content and creativity. My husband Bill is on the...
Sorry. Stephen Gale.
Like most of you, like most of what these people have already stated, I looked it up. I started seeing the keywords, Common Core, stuff like that, on the state website. You know, what I basically derived from it was federal government, you know, spit out a bunch of rules. The state took up a bunch of it. You know, we get a little bit of a choice on it. You know, we get to discuss it and basically, you know, like what we're going to be doing here in a few days. You know, I'm going to go to my parent-teacher conferences, and I'm going to find out where my kid is to those state standards. I'm not an expert. I don't know enough. I'm definitely very interested in learning more about it, though. So, thank you.
Next question. What is your perception of the current working and learning climate in our school district? What ideas do you have to ensure a positive working and learning climate in our district? Stephen Gale.
Could you repeat it one more time?
What is your perception of the current working and learning climate in our school district? And then what ideas do you have to ensure a positive working and learning climate in our district?
Okay, you know, and for the current climate, you know, I've heard many different things. Again, I'm sort of new to Newcastle, so I don't want to jump the gun. I don't want to be one of these people that says, you know, positive or negative. My you know, personal experience with it so far has been very positive. All the teachers I have, you know, interacted with, every school administrator, everything has been really positive. Again, I would encourage that, you know, parents communicate and work with the teachers and communicate with the teachers to keep that positive mental and, you know, aspect going, and have that good open line of communication so that you can help the students achieve. And that, I believe, is what the kids and the teachers would help them.
Stan Jasinski.
This is question 6, right?
What's that?
Question 6? Okay.
Perception of the current working and learning climate?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
In District 1, we have dedicated teachers who care and honor their profession by staying within the boundaries of teaching, reading, writing, arithmetic, science, and biology. We have great sports and after-school programs which allow students to compete, strategize, form goals, learn team spirit, and gain rewards for individual achievements, giving them the ability to obtain scholarships for college. And we have modernized and updated our schools, providing students with the environment and tools necessary for learning. What's missing from this positive learning and working environment is the key element for students to learn, and that are curriculums which are not grounded in social ideologies. As a board member, I'll work to rid our school of these curriculums and replace them with curriculums, for example, the Hillsdale College 1776 curriculum for the subject history and civics.
Jill Sears.
My perception of the current working and learning environment of our school district is positive overall, but there are areas we need to focus on, and I'm hopeful that can be achieved without anyone feeling blamed or singled out. The teachers are our foundation, and they deserve respect for parents and students and acknowledgement of their personal successes. The issues we have shouldn't be perceived as parents against teachers, but there are parents who don't feel included. They don't feel valued. They feel conversations are being had with our children that we don't agree with and are without our consent. There should be no documents signed by a child that the parent is unaware of. I'd like to help resolve these perceptions and issues by being open.
Her time's not up. I'm not sure why the mic cut out. Continue.
Sorry. By being open and transparent about failures and successes the district has, utilizing the vast experience of our faculty and promoting transparency.
Sorry about that.
Well, as far as my perception on the current working environment, I'm assuming that most of our staff is very happy with where they're at in their jobs. Otherwise, we wouldn't have teachers. As far as the learning climate, I'm a little concerned, especially since our state rate is at testing rate is at 35%. I have a thing that this basically boils down to our use of computers within the classroom. I know it's part of the times and that we need to get with it, but without the technology, our students cannot read, they cannot write, they cannot read, write, and they cannot do basic math without a calculator or some form of technology within their grasp. This is sad, and the learning climate here needs to change.
Marcia Lambert.
My perception of the current working and learning climate is I want to think it's at a 10. We have a beautiful facility and work environment, access to tools of the trade, and lunch on campus. What are we missing? My perception is that the administrators and staff are pretty upbeat and enthusiastic. However, without being naive, people are people. When they work closely together day after day, there are bound to be disagreements that can sometimes turn awful, usually affecting the relationship and the people around them, including children. Well, especially children. From my experience, they are the most vulnerable to adult controversy, and it would have to affect the learning environment. There are steps in the chain of command that can help with this, like counselors. At the WSBA convention, we have speakers at the opening session, and some of them are really inspiring and encouraging, and a couple of them even talk about how to listen and deal with conflict.
Jason Jenkins.
Overall, I like to think our district is amazing. Our teachers are asked to do more than just teach. We're not a perfect district. No district is. There are things that we need to work on. The working environment, I like to give our teachers and staff a safe environment to work in, to make sure our staff have the tools and the training needed to teach at the highest level, and to trust our staff to do what's best to educate our children. The learning environment, I'd like to give our students a safe environment to learn in, to make sure our students also have the tools needed in the classroom to get that highest education that we can give them.
Joe Brown.
As for the working environment, it's my perception with the interactions I've had with current staff seems to be positive. At least I hope so. However, I am sure if any issues arise, the administration and then the board, if needed, can address those. As for the learning climate, it has been brought to my attention about access to information or access to do homework for some students. I've also heard about students' fear of speaking up or the feeling of inferiority to speak up. I think in just talking to people and having that open dialogue, I can help everyone.
Paul Bell.
One word comes to mind, and that's concerned. We have some of the best teachers I've ever met in my life, and it seems like they're being denied the tools and the resources they need to educate our kids the proper way. You wouldn't expect a mechanic to fix something without the parts and the tools, would you? Well, this isn't a car, these are our kids. That's a little bit more important to me than following a chain of command. Because when they do try to bump it up the chain of command, they're stopped cold. A chain is only as strong as its weakest link. And that's why a school board, your representatives, are so important. They're a safety valve. They're the pressure relief switch. They're the last great hope for people that have no other avenue or alternative. And to sit here and say that they didn't follow the chain of command correctly, there is a culture of fear. When you talk to teachers, they're afraid. and there's a disconnect because the administrators say they're not.
Sean Crabtree.
My perception is that we have great teachers, we have great principals, and we have great coaches. My ideas are to have good communication between teachers, parents, and students. What I like to see is more tech and work type programs for our students that don't go to college.
And Dana Gordon.
Overall, I feel we have a pretty good climate in our schools. Most students and teachers, I believe, feel safe. Students, for the most part, have an adult they can relate to and feel comfortable with. For a small district, I think we do a pretty good job providing a very wide variety of choices for our students. As with any job or profession, there will be difficulties at different times. I think most of our district can work through the tough times. We do need to do as much as we can to retain or recruit quality educators and provide support for everyone when we can.
Next question. Our students come to us with a variety of backgrounds, traumas, and issues. How, as a board member, will you actively ensure the emotional, social, physical, and mental health of our students? Marcia Lambert.
As a board member, I would continue to support funding for counseling and other support that is needed. Hold the superintendent accountable to provide needed resources, including working with parents. And as a person, I would wonder if it would be beneficial to train staff so they could recognize mental health issues and get the help needed for the person.
Dana Gordon.
The school board is not involved with the day-to-day workings at the school. What the board can do is try to keep quality staff trained to aid students in these aspects. We can encourage teachers and students to make important connections with each other. We can budget for extra counselors that are needed. We can do those kind of financial things if the money's there.
Stephen Gale.
I would say that the main thing that we can do is provide the tools, that are needed. Like I said, suicide. I'm an EMT, so I've seen that there's, we have issues in Wyoming with suicide, with depression, in our teenagers and our children, and it's getting younger and younger and younger. It's a huge issue. So we do need to provide that kind of support, give those kind of tools. In small communities like this, drugs and things are a huge issue. We need to provide community events, give something to keep these kids active and out of trouble.
Tyler Mills.
Not to discriminate. That's on, not saying discrimination is on the staff, that's not on the staff, but to make sure that this job is relied on by our staff. We need to hire and retain and ensure that our staff is up to par to deal with the social, emotional, and mental health issues of our students. Therefore, they are our kids. We need to listen to the concerns of our parents and staff members in certain situations, confer with board members, staff members, and the parents, and work as a team to get the right done, especially for our students.
Joe Prell.
As a board, I think they have to rely on the teachers. The teachers and staff are the front line of viewing these issues in students. They see how students' home life, mental health, and backgrounds affect their well-being and education. Teachers need to have open communication with parents, school principals, and school counselors of students' behaviors. With the collaboration of the front line, I am confident that staff will ensure the health and safety of our students and under their teaching. If something needs to be brought to the school board's attention, the chain of command needs to be followed.
Stan Jasinski.
I do not believe my role as a board member is to ensure the emotional, social, or mental health of our students. If a student is perceived to have any one of these issues by, an example, a teacher, guidance counselor, these individuals or school boards' only role should be to inform the parents of this potential medical issue and suggest they contact the medical care provider, period. The only exemption to this would be if a student's behavior is affecting other students' ability to learn, then after informing and consulting with the parents, if the problem continues, the student should be removed from the classroom for the benefit of all other students until the parents or their doctor are able to resolve the student's behavioral problem. We are educators, not doctors, and we should stay out of the emotional, social, and mental field and stick to teaching. Social emotional learning, social emotional health is critical race theory, and that's Marxism.
Jason Jenkins.
As I said in my previous answer, our teachers are being asked more and more to be more than teachers. If we look at the mental health of our students and just society as a whole, nobody will argue we're in dire straits. You know, a lot of these students come from broken homes. We have grandparents raising the kids. And again, I'm thankful for the teachers that we have that step into those roles. I'm grateful that our students feel safe to come to those teachers to address those issues. What I do is make sure that we have the staffing to address those specific needs, to make sure that all staff have the training available to address those issues, and to reinforce to our students our school is a safe place to address those needs, and they do have staff members that they can go to. Thank you.
Jill Sears.
As a board member, the responsibility is a quality education. We have within our county organizations whose sole purpose is the social, physical, and mental health of our children. I feel when a teacher sees a serious issue with a particular student, it should be referred to the appropriate agency. Teachers were never meant to be social workers. Schools were never meant to be mental health centers. I understand that teachers do get emotionally attached to children, and for that I am grateful. But they shouldn't carry the burden of a child's mental and physical health. Report issues to appropriate agencies. Make the child feel safe and welcome in school. Make sure they get lunch, and teach them to the best of your ability so that they can overcome the situations they were born into. The worst case scenario is an abused, neglected, or traumatized child graduating without the ability to read, comprehend, and do basic math. That's a sentence of a life of servitude.
Paul Bell.
Honestly, I don't know how teachers do it today. I really don't. God bless you. This world has gone crazy in the last 20 years. For a lot of these kids, school is the only safe place they have in their lives. And like it or not, teachers are the only people that they have that care about them. That might be unfair, it might not be right, but it's the reality. As a district, we need to do everything we can to prepare those teachers and give them the tools that they need to appropriately help those students. It's kind of funny, I alluded to earlier, we have some of the best teachers I've ever seen. And when teachers are talking to you and they start crying because of what they see happening to these kids, they care. And that goes a long ways. So thank your teachers, thank your staff members, and support them any way you can.
John Crabtree.
First of all, you have to have a heart. Then you have to love. And then you have to care for the kids. I've seen some stuff with kids that would break your heart. Kids sleeping two in a bed, and then right beside them is a blanket with a kitty litter. There's a lot of stuff out there. These kids are traumatized. I understand. I see it when I go in and clean out trailer houses, and you just want to do something to the parents that let their kids live like that. I do want to say that I will do everything in my power for these kids, because I do have a heart for them, and I do care. Another thing too, we have amazing counselors, and also too, we have amazing teachers that will help.
End of the candidates relief. Our final question. Do you trust and value the professionalism of our educators and that the decisions are made with the best interest of all the students? Explain why or why not. Dana Gordon.
Absolutely. I have seen our teachers and staff in action. I have seen the way they work and care for our students. I can't help but go back to when my children were in school and to see that some of those teachers are still here. And to see the amount of time and effort that so many of them put into the kids and the work they put in to help them and the celebrations they have with them when they reach their goals. And I have subbed in our schools a while ago, and trust me, you have to love children and care about them to do what a teacher does.
Joe Proud.
I do trust our staff and hope everyone understands that all decisions are not perfect or correct. We are all humans and make mistakes, but it's how we overcome our mistakes is how we succeed. I understand every year there are new challenges, and I believe our staff is well equipped to handle those situations that might arise. I consider our staff to have a good rapport with the school board now, and I would like to keep that working relationship and build upon it to ensure we're keeping our students our number one priority.
Paul Bell.
For the most part, yes. I treat everyone the same when it comes to trust. I will trust you until you give me a reason not to. When it comes to professionalism, I trust our teachers for the most part. There's been a couple of examples where I have to question it. I will say this, if I hire a professional carpenter to come build me a deck at my house, I'm going to have some oversight. If I see him digging post holes in the wrong area, we're going to have a conversation. It might be a misunderstanding, it might be something that we can fix. But if at the end of the day, that carpenter throws his hammer down and says, I know better than you do, we're going to have to go a different direction. It's my house, it's my money, and I don't care what your vision is. Let's be professional, but let's also be real.
Stan Jasinski.
I do not place a value or trust in the professionalism of our educators. I value and trust the results I see in our students. Our students are graduating with basic skill levels and comprehension. The reason for these low skill levels, as I said here tonight, is the curriculums our students are being taught. These curriculums are not meant to teach high skill levels, but rather teach marginal skills to students who upon graduating can then get low-level jobs, a small home, enough food to live on, but not enough to raise a family, go out to eat or to a movie once in a while, etc. Go to school, learn just enough to work, and pay taxes to the government who created these curriculums, and the circle is now complete. Don't take my word for it. Here's a quote for you to consider. 4 years of math, 5 teachers, no learning. Overheard by Superintendent LaCroix in the seniors parking lot as the new senior model last week. Thank you. It's the curriculum.
Tyler Mills.
Yes, we have some of the best teachers within the state and the nation. Some of them I have not met yet, but our board has done the best they can so far to hire very qualified, very professional and caring teachers. Some of our teachers, even within our district, drive school buses. No, the professionalism of our educators is tremendous, and I give my hat off to them because I have yet to meet a teacher call me on the phone or meet me at a parent-teacher conference or anything and just outright yell at me. They are very professional, very forthcoming, and I would love to keep that.
Jason Jenkins.
Absolutely, do we have the best teachers around? You know, you can look at any child when they're walking down the street, at the stores. Look at your child when they see one of their teachers. Go to any event and watch your child when they see a teacher's in the stand. We have the best teachers around. Are teachers human? Are mistakes made? Yes. It's not malicious. Our teachers have our students' best interest at heart. I trust our teachers, and I'll stand by our teachers. Thank you.
Stephen Gale.
Absolutely. As I stated earlier, I'm relatively new to Newcastle. Me and my wife have been here for a little over a year. This is our second year that our kids have been in the Weston County School and here in Newcastle in the elementary school. We moved here because of the school district. We left Campbell County and came here because of things we saw and that we didn't like in Campbell County that was going on, and we did like here. So yes, I absolutely trust our teachers here, and I'm very, very proud of our school and this community. And that's why I'm running, is because I want to see it continue.
Marcia Lambert.
Well, without getting too carried away, I'm truly in awe of educators and respect the task of educating children. So yes, I value and trust the professionalism of our educators. My husband and I graduated from Newcastle, and my 2 children graduated, and then we send our grandchildren, so we do trust them, and we turned out okay. And my mother-in-law, Norma Lambert, was the teacher at NHS, so I better trust and respect her. And as far as the decisions being made with the best interest of all students, I think our educators make decisions for students with their whole heart. And is it good for all or just one, I don't know. But they have made the decision on that day in good faith.
Sean Crabtree.
I think I've said this quite a few times in these questions. I do trust our teachers. I do trust our staff. I've seen teachers, ADs, and principals go out of their way for kids in the school. Some of the stuff, there's been a lot of troubled kids. Most of them work for me now, but they're my favorites. So I've been in a lot of rooms with Mrs. Sweet with these troubled kids. I've talked to the state about these kids. I just want to say we've got a great staff, and they have a heart, and they do love kids. So.
And Jill Sears.
I do trust and value the professionalism of our educators. My daughter attends Weston County High School, Newcastle High School as a freshman. Having homeschooled her for several years, I can empathize on how difficult and stressful education is, and I would never place my only child in this district if I didn't feel the teachers, administration, and support staff we're capable and willing to provide her a quality education and contribute to her overall socialization skills. She tells me I was the worst teacher she ever had. However, pursuit of improvement or even excellence should never be something we fear or resent. We can improve and change things that are concerning both teachers and parents with open and constructive communication. I hope to play a small role in that process, and while respecting parental rights and fully supporting the teachers in their efforts to educate. Thank you.
Mrs. Shoemaker.
All right, I get the best part to dismiss you before we do. So again, my name is Kylie Shoemaker. As president of the Newcastle Education Association, I'd like to close this inaugural school board candidates forum with a couple of thank yous. First, thank you candidates for participating. This was an intense hour and a half. We kept it under 2 hours, so good job. And we really appreciate the time that you put in to both be here and to prepare for it and participate in the forum. An extra special thank you to the members of Newcastle Education Association and Delta Kappa Gamma who spent hours discussing, planning, and organizing this event tonight. Thank you to our custodial staff for getting the tables and chairs ready and for cleaning up after all of us. Thank you to our sound technicians so we could hear everything. And lastly, thank you audience for caring about our school district and spending your evening with us. We hope this helps you make informed decisions about who you want serving as your school board trustees. Your vote matters. Please make a plan to vote on or before Election Day on Tuesday, November 8th. Thank you and good night.